Hello everybody and welcome to Chess 24. It's a slightly different day today. They are having a rest day over in Dortmund, so we're going to concentrate on the Biel Super Tournaments. Super Tournaments? It's only one going on at the moment, Super Tournament, but also we're going to have a quick look at another very interesting tournament taking place in Bergamo, the ACP Classic, I believe it's called, featuring some very, very strong players, amongst which the likes of Jobava, Nepomniachtchi stand out, but Almashi, Brunello, Vocatoro, the other Grandmasters, and Sutovsky, very, very interesting tournament mix of players. We're going to bring you all the action from today's round, and who better to explain what is going on in the likes of Giri Motilev, a complete crazy tactical battle, than our own tactical genius, in-house Grandmaster Jan Gustafsson.
Well, I could think of one or two better names to explain it, but let's start there. I have no idea what's going on. The position on the board, I believe, is a checkmate. That's probably not...
That's not what happened.
Is that your live express analysis?
Yeah, that is. In fact, this is the position that was on the board a moment ago, Jan, between Giri Motilev. Let's just... The Biel tournament, not the Bergamo tournament. Anish Giri had a bit of a comeback, reprisal, whatever you want to call it, yesterday, having won after a torrid start of 0 out of 2.
Right.
He won yesterday, he needed that win big time. But today he's playing an inform Alexander Motilev, who, you know, he's a dangerous player.
Right?
He won yesterday.
Destroyed the Berlin. Very well prepared guy, always has been because of his work for Kayakin, the Russian national team. Lives in Moscow. I'm not sure if that's true. I heard he lives in the same house, like, for example, Vladimir Potkin. I heard they have a bit of a Grandmaster building there. There's a lot of strong Grandmasters living. So in my
Don't
mind,
these
they're
guys
like,
have wives and
they're playing
children?
cards and exchanging variations all the time, so they know everything. That's what I think.
What about wives?
Well, they live in the same building, not in the same flat.
Oh, so they're allowed a wife, are they?
I'm not sure. I think they're allowed. Motilev, he has kids, right?
I'm not sure, actually.
I'm pretty sure he has kids.
Probably does, yeah.
I think he reported once that his son asked him, "Dad, why are you so bad at chess?" And after that, he went on to win the
European
Championship. Just
That's awesome.
prove it to his kid.
That's good. Well, Rook d8 was played. What a crazy position. Black is a pawn up, but clearly with all kinds of threats against this knight on f6. It's not one of these clear positions that we can immediately say is winning. But I love his move Rook d8 here, Jan, because it sets up a neat trap, doesn't it? If you take on d8, you swiftly put the queen on f1.
It's not such a devious trap. I believe Anish will see through that one, but it is a good move. It wrestles the d-file away from white. I think Anish played Rook g1. He had to get out of the way, of course, and now Rook d3 has been played with very complicated stuff.
Really
b3
tough.
is under attack, f3 is under attack, but white has moves of his own. Queen e2 comes to mind to pin that rook. And after, let's say, knight takes b3, bishop f6, who knows what's going on? g5, bishop e4, there's all kinds of
Who would
dangerous
you
ideas.
take in this position after queen e2? I love that move, Jan. It's I don't know who inspired you for that suggestion, but who would you...
You're my inspiration for everything I suggest.
Thank you for the
On and off
tweet,
chessboard.
by the way. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. We should share this with our readers.
Yeah, maybe we can get Jan's last tweet up. That was
No,
very
we can
nice.
get up the leaderboard.
Oh, the
because
leaderboard.
None other than Lawrence Trent himself is leader in our bullet 1-minute category on chess24.com. Does not really speak volumes about the level of play on our side, but he did overtake Paco Vallejo. And this is your 15 minutes of fame,
This
right?
is
we
it,
should,
right? Before
we should
Paco...
bring it up.
We'll bring it up
Before
later.
Paco plays one more game.
Yeah, exactly. Queen e2, though, I really like the move, Jan. I think it's good. Oh, look, there it is. Wow.
There's proof.
Look at that.
If
That's
we scroll
nice.
down one more place, then we can see there's some very strong players lurking, like 7th or 8th as well. But for now, you're up right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Someone's hiding my great rating. Lawrence Trent, 2
Hold on.
for 31. Higher than your FIDE rating, I believe. No.
Not far off.
Right. And Padelman is Paco. You're 1 point ahead of him.
Yes.
We're all very proud of you.
Thanks.
And whoever wants to change the status quo should play a game of bullet.
Absolutely. All right, let's get back to the action. So Queen E2 looks like a good move. We're waiting for Motilev to make a move, but
yeah, to get back to your question, I choose white here. I think it's
too,
easier to play with white. Bishop takes f6, bishop e4, g5. Black could get mated very quickly.
Really quickly. Yeah. What about the other games still in progress? Yeah, and we've got this position after move 34 in Ho Yifan versus Pentala Hari Krishna, and as I incorrectly pointed out before we went live, I thought, hold on, isn't Pentala doing well? And then you pointed out, no, he's going to be struggling.
Well, the truth could be somewhere in the middle. Ho Yifan an exchange down, but she does have 2 pawns, very compact pawn structure. So my take was that if anybody's better, it's white. But now after king d6, I find it hard to claim a serious advantage for white either. I think it's more or less balanced. I'd take white if I had the choice, but white struggles to create a passed pawn. Black is very solid. I would say it's within the realms of equality for sure.
Well, material equality is exact, isn't it? 2 knights and a pawn for a rook. You would, on paper, that's...
You could argue about that. I think the evaluation trend is shifting a bit towards valuing a knight a bit higher, like 3.25, 3.5. And
a bishop?
Bishop also in that neighborhood, slightly stronger than a knight. Probably knight 3.25, bishop 3.5, rook 5. Because in general, I think that's how we learned it in school. A rook is 5, a pawn is 1, minor pieces are 3. So minor piece plus 2 pawns equals a rook. But practice has shown that minor piece plus 2 pawns normally is better than a rook. Especially bishop and 2 pawns tends to be a bit of a material advantage. Of course, always it depends on the situation. And here, I think black is active enough to hold the balance, but no more than that.
We do have one result from the Biel tournament, and that is a draw between Wojciech and Maxime Vachier-lagrave. It was...
Very exciting game. An exchange g3 Grunfeld, and as we can tell by the final position, not that much happened. Like, Vachier-lagrave knew what he was doing, they exchanged a lot of pieces, and both could live with a draw today, I would guess. Vachier won a game yesterday, is on +1.
Yep.
Radek has been... How has he been doing in the tournament? A bit up and down, right?
Yeah, he was on 1.5. I think he's on +1. Yeah. I think he's still on +1. So, how did he do? Yeah, he's on +1, I believe. So,
But he lost yesterday to Anish, right?
Right. So he's on 50%. He was on +1 before the round and lost to Anish. Right. You're exactly right. Yeah. What about the Bergamo tournament? Why don't we check in there? Because we've got some really exciting games. We've got very creative players, and I'm a big fan of creative players.
I like my grinders,
you would have
nicely executed minority
You would have
attack.
fit in really well in the Botvinnik school, Do not play more than 2 openings. I don't know why I'm speaking with a German accent. He was Russian. I can't do a Russian one. Can you?
No, I mean...
Maybe our producer can.
You can say horrible instead of horrible.
Horrible.
Russians struggle with the H like I struggle with the R.
Right. Anyway, you and Botvinnik would have gone to dinner together and everything. You would have loved Botvinnik. I tell you, Botvinnik and Bala Jobava, there would have been chaos. There would have been...
They might not have liked each other.
They would have hated each other, Because Bala Jobava... But he's played semi-normally today, which is...
Yeah, no 1b3.
Yeah.
I like him better when he plays 1b3 and then he tries to get in g4, g5 very quickly. Like b3, bishop b2, e3, g4.
My favourite Jobava opening is this move here, which he's famous for.
He does that, the Philidor
reversed.
Doesn't look so aggressive, bishop e2.
It's not an aggressive move, is it?
He's used it to beat Svidler and some very serious guys in the Russian team.
Yeah, he played a normal game today with bishop
c4.
c4.
After bishop e2?
I don't know. We're not going to get into a theory.
We should, though.
Should we? It's a King's Gambit reversed.
f5 looks great. What are you going to do?
5, I don't know.
Free novelty, dear
D4?
viewers. At D4 might be a problem. Maybe not the greatest of free novelties. Still, I like it. FE 95, not F6.
Nah, it's just a
Who
game.
knows?
But what he did play was the Italian opening, bishop
Maybe he
c4.
figured out he could do the same, but have his bishop outside the pawn tray instead of on E2, which is a terrible place.
Right.
Look at this beautiful bishop on C4.
It's great on c4. Anyway, we get a main line.
Yeah,
We're not
the
going to...
Italian, the trend has moved a bit towards going D5 in one go. Like when I grew up, or what I was still have been doing, was more like these slower setups with D6, A6, bishop A7, which I still believe are totally fine. But now you see a lot of games where guys just castle and push D5, slightly weakening the E-pawn, but trying to get control of the center, and are saying, I'm worried about nothing.
I agree. We won't go through all of the moves here. We'll just go to the current position because it is complicated. After rook a7, move 36. And, well, it's clear. I tell you something about Biel. There's a big claim that he's one of the most talented, strictly chess playing. If we could talk about chess strength, forget opening preparation and so on. As a chess player, he is really super talented.
He is very strong. I think everybody rates him highly, and sometimes it gets lost because he plays these goofy openings. But he's just a quality player,
Yeah,
and he's also been around for a long time.
He has.
I remember in 2004 at the Olympiad in Mallorca, he was the top scorer for the Georgian team. Back then he was a scary theoretician, played all the main lines. They gave him white every game. He played one D4, some very heavy Slav, semi-Slav stuff. But he's kind of merged to this creative guy who's just looking for a game and has been doing great recently.
No, he's been
Great results, entertaining games. Today he's a pawn up, if I count it correctly, and is better.
He's certainly better, but things are far from clear because it looks as though black is going to be able to construct a kind of fortress. But it's not really a fortress,
I
is
like
it?
this move, queen to b6, to put the bishop on b4.
Yeah.
Like, once the bishop makes it to c5, it controls everything, and white has enough potential to either
break
attack
through.
the c6 pawn or go rook a8, queen b8, rook a7. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Bardo winning this. I think it's going to be very hard to hold with black.
I agree. So potentially winning there for... What about this game? This is an all-Italian matchup. Now, Italy as a country has had somewhat of a renaissance in the past few years, primarily, of course, due to the...
Well, they had some strong guys joining their team, like Fabiano Caruana, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Predominantly due to Fabiano now being fully blown Italian and playing for the... But also, if we look at the... I mean, let's talk about 10 years ago or something like that. The only name that comes to mind is Michele Goldena, who was a grandmaster, top grandmaster for many years. But now you've got the likes of Vocaturo, Brunello, you've got... oh goodness, his name's Davini.
Yeah, there's a whole new generation.
Whole generation.
Not top players yet, but strong grandmasters with 2580, 2600 in that neighborhood, which before, when we played Italy like 10 years ago, was always Gudena and some IMs, so it used to be considered not a top team. Well, now Italy is a very serious outfit.
And they're young guys.
And a young cast of strong players.
Yeah, they've got a whole... And look at that, we've got a picture there. The two guys on the right side after Emil Sutovsky, so the furthest right, Brunello, the furthest right, and then on his left, Vocaturo. Two very young guys, two very talented guys. And
play both these guys.
Yeah.
Draws,
yeah. Okay. I don't think I've played either of them. I've only played against Sutovsky from this list, but...
Played Sutovsky too. I might have played everybody. No. I can't recall having played Jubava. I drew Sutovsky. Well, I drew everybody. So when I played, that means I drew them. Almashi, I played more than once. Jubava, I can't remember. Maybe I never played him. Pomnashi? Nah.
I'd love to play Jubava. But anyway, point is, Italy doing very well. And they're playing each other today. And this is the position after move 42. And I think it's quite clear that the slightly underrated of the two, Daniele Vocaturo, has got a little something here.
What happened to him? He was like 2580 and doing very well some years ago, like 2, 3, 4 years ago.
Right.
And it looks like he's been not developing as quickly as we thought, or his rating hasn't caught up to his strength,
plateaued. Yeah, he's plateaued at 2580 around there. But today he's playing against Brunello, who reached to 2620,
He was 2600 at some point.
And well, things are far from over. But this pawn is very weak. This king is very
bad
active.
for white.
It looks.
F4 is just coming. H3 is gone, and black is at 2 bishops and an extra passed pawn.
Yeah,
Looks winning.
Close to winning, doesn't it? Really, amazingly.
Maybe white can do some jumping around. Knight d4, f4, knight f3, king f6, knight g1, but that looks horribly passive. Even if you keep the pawn, I don't even think black wants to take it here.
No, I don't think
He
he
wants
does.
to improve his position, and looks very hard to defend with white.
It really does. It's a massage, isn't it? That one. That is a full-blown tie, full-body massage, and white's going to have real trouble holding. What about Sutovsky? Now, Sutovsky Nepomniachtchi is an interesting story. Emil Sutovsky, for people who don't know, is the president of the Association of Chess Professionals.
Right.
The guy's putting together this tournament. He, in his own right, has been quoted as, one of the most creative, aggressive players.
It says that on his Wikipedia page. It says he's undisputedly one of the sharpest minds in chess, or something like that. I'm not sure who wrote his Wikipedia page, but he's certainly a very creative, aggressive player.
He is indeed, and today he's playing against Jan Nepomniachtchi, and we've reached an ending after what was an interesting opening, but we won't go into that at the moment. This ending where black is a pawn up, but are things so clear?
Things are never clear in rook endings, but black is a pawn up and more active. I wouldn't be surprised if... Or would I be surprised? Let me have a brief think. Because if white manages to exchange his c-pawn for, let's say, the e-pawn, then it should just be a draw. And maybe he is in time to go for a move like c5. No, it's not clear to me if there's that much black can do. King d5, then rook b6. I think king c5, rook takes e6 is just a draw. So probably Sutovsky will hold this. I don't really see how he can avoid an exchange of pawns there. No, it should be a draw. Winning chances are with black due to his extra pawn, but
Sure.
not enough.
Not enough, is it? I think you're right. It's funny because the computer here, just to demonstrate how lacking in understanding of endings computers still are, computers like the move rook b5 here, which is a completely nonsensical move because that allows king d4 driving the king further back after rook h2.
Who knows, even this might work after rook b6. He probably has a point, but it does look just very, very wrong.
But this is...
Here, yeah, e5 or
E5.
something. Who knows? This could lose.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's going to go c5, Sutovsky, and he's probably going to hold the fort. What is happening in the Biel games? Let's quickly shoot back to Giri.
Let's go to our boy
Motilev.
Giri.
Oh my goodness! What has happened?
Lots of stuff happened. Let's back up. We've seen 34 rook g1.
What happened?
Rook
Rook
d3.
Queen e2.
Yeah,
Oh, you
play
played Queen e2. That's a good move.
Knight h7. Is that a blunder? Knight d4 looks like it's winning material using that pin. Queen a6. You have bishop e4. Maybe you don't even need to. Maybe you can
just
move
in
your
a pin.
bishop first.
Just bishop anywhere, right?
Yeah. Bishop e4. Okay, maybe it's not that clear. Knight g5.
Yeah.
Even this, you
even
know.
this is.
It's an exchange for white.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Motilyov, probably correctly. It's another name I'm not quite sure about. I think we say Motilyov, but I'm not quite sure. Is it Motilev, Motilyov? Somewhere in the middle?
I don't know. Maybe somebody can tweet us. Remember,
Right.
if you are watching, we're hoping we're not just talking to a camera. We're hoping we're talking to hundreds of thousands of viewers, right?
They're
In
all
that
out
region. Motilov, we've been told. Motilov. Please tweet us, hashtag C24Live, because we do like to hear from you. We've got our regulars, Daniel Beltran, I can see popped up there and so on, but we want to hear from you people. What do you think of today's games and chess in general? Do you love it? Of course you do, otherwise you wouldn't be watching. Tweet us anyway. Queen d7. Well, he's just given up the
I think
exchange.
that's probably a better move because he forces white to take at least, and then after knight takes g5, he still has some hopes. Rook d1, bishop c5, another move you could argue about. Maybe he missed.
He's
here
missed
is
knight c6,
knight
hasn't
c6.
he? Yeah.
That's a cute little move,
Yeah.
keeping everything together. Black is forced to go queen d3, rook d3, knight c6, bishop c6.
Knight
I
e6.
would say black's drawing chances are pretty slim here.
Yeah.
I think there are none, actually. It's opposite color bishops, but they can favor the attacking side if there's additional pieces left, which is the case here. I think white can just go rook d7, followed by bishop d5, tying black down, and it's game.
Yeah, I don't think Motilev's going to survive. Just to,
No.
I mean, also, bishop d5 is just a monster threat for a start. And then to boot, white can always create an outside pass pawn, which is quite a nice little feature if he needs to. The king ever comes across h4 and so on. No, it's going to be game over. I'm pretty sure about that,
I
actually.
agree. And Daniel Beltran seems to agree as well. He says Giri has turned the table in a couple of moves, which he indeed has.
Yep. Amazing. All right, what about the Ho Yifan Pentala Hari Krishna game? Well,
Some more moves have been played.
we had c4 on the board, rook e7, good move, c5, king d7, b4, king e8. Just sort of, and she took on e7, so she finally, and played knight f4, but how does white ever win this?
I don't think she does. I don't think she loses either. I think it's equal.
I
White
don't
can't
think
really
she
make
could.
progress.
But black did. She's got a impenetrable. The knight covers. How does black ever get in? She puts the king on e4.
Yeah, if black gets too frisky, the knight can jump to e6 and take the g7 pawn. No, I think it's just equality now. Neither side has enough resources to play for a win.
Just king e3.
Yeah, any move really.
No, it's just gonna. They'll find a repetition, maybe, right?
Yeah, she played king e3,
Yeah.
and it does look very, very drawish. Not a bad result for Yifan, but if we can go back some moves, she actually quite bravely tried to break the tension. Exactly here, knight h7, a bit of a provocation by Hare Krishna, and she did take on f7, which of course is what Hare Krishna expected. After knight g5,
It's cute.
it looks like
You can't take because of
exactly.
check. And then. Whew,
So it looks like white is losing material, but she does have the clever move queen
it
f4,
is.
when in order to keep it going, black has to go e5, else he would just have lost a pawn.
Yep.
And now she went for rook takes e7, once again forced in order not to lose the rook. Queen e7 and queen e5, transforming a quiet Caro-Kann position to a slightly more open one, where black has an extra exchange, but white has two pawns and arguably the better chances, especially here. But Hare Krishna defended well, and that's how we got this ending we see on the board right now.
Yeah, and it's gonna. You're right. I think it is going to be a draw. I don't think Hare Krishna's. Well, his rook is boxed in. His rook doesn't actually have any future.
Well, it can always go to f5, f7, e7. It can find some better hunting grounds, but it also has to stay close to the h5, g7 pawn, so nothing happens there. No, I think it's just an equal position.
Yeah.
So with
Yeah.
who you found drawing, staying solid in the tournament, even though she did lose yesterday to Vachier. Did she? Yeah. I can't remember like what happened one day ago. She did lose yesterday to Vachier.
She did lose in that grinding queen and knight ending.
Which puts her on 50%.
Yeah.
And Anish Giri is still trying to reach 50%, but it looks like he has good chances today. Very good chances, actually. This is what they have on the board.
So he's moved the rook away. Now that looks paradoxical to some people, to get the rook off the 7th, but he's got a very sneaky idea in mind, doesn't he? He wants to provoke a5.
I think it was more born out of necessity, because after rook e7, king f8, if he, can we put this on the board? If we were to go rook d7, king e8,
Ooh.
This rook would all of a sudden be trapped on that
my
huge 7th
goodness.
rank. Rook d6, king e7. And not a lot of space for our friend Rookie.
No. That would be... He still might draw with rook takes knight.
Yeah,
but
sure, but that's not what he's looking
that's
for.
certainly not what he's looking for.
But of course, Anish saw through that, went rook e4, and keeps all the chances. After a5,
H4 must
yeah,
be... the
h4 comes to mind. To just win some space, bring the king. Black is so passive.
Yeah.
His knight on d8 is forever dominated by the bishop, and if he were to exchange himself for the bishop, why will he be left with a winning ending as well? I think it's close to being resignable, actually.
A5 was played by Motilov. Motilov.
Motilyov.
Motilov. And... yeah.
I think I played some draws against Motilyov as well.
That wouldn't surprise me. Have you ever... Let me ask you a serious question. Have you ever won a game of chess?
One or two, but not a whole lot. In my first World Championship, under 18, Motilyov and Ponomarev, who's younger, but he was terribly strong then already. He was like 14, but was the favorite in the field. But Motilyov was the other big name. He was already 2590, 2600, which back then was a huge elo. And after that, it took him a while to get there. Like, he disappeared in the crowd for a couple of years. We're talking 1996 or some year. But now he's firmly established himself as a top coach and a 2700 player, reigning European individual champion. He's been doing all right, but he will lose this game to someone who could probably still play today in an under 18 World Championship.
No, he can't.
No, not quite. He's
20,
right?
yeah, he's 20, but he looks like he could. Nah. No, he does look young.
He doesn't look. He does look 20.
He does. Nah. Does he?
Yeah.
I think he looks 14, doesn't he?
Apologies,
Anish. We love you, really.
All of this smack you can blame on your girlfriend, Sopiko Guramishvili, who is a well-known enemy of this show. It's really not you, it's her.
Let's go to the Sutowski-Nepomniachtchi game again from Bergamo. And interestingly, king d5. Oh, he did play c5. He was always going to find that. But nice try by Nepomniachtchi. Rook h2, king c3, and now king d5. And the point is that at least now if you go rook b6, I kind of know that I can't stop you taking on e6. Is there any merit in e5 here? Or is that allowing b4 and I'm risking things? Yeah, I think I have to take, right?
Yeah, I think probably. You take rook e6, but this is just a draw.
Check. And yeah, it's just a total draw, isn't it? Yeah, I think that is going to end in a draw. What about Jobava Almashi?
Well, the queen's got off. That's surprising. How did Almashi manage?
Yeah, so what happened? He did play queen b6 after rook a7, yeah? So, rook d7, bishop
after
b4.
bishop b4, he went queen b5, which makes a lot of sense. Because, yeah, one more move and white will go bishop c5.
Queen b5 is a good move, isn't it?
This is probably his best fighting chance.
Queen c5 played. Takes. But even though the queens are off,
still very unpleasant.
imagine defending this for 5 hours.
I agree, it is unpleasant.
I think Carlsen would say this is just winning for white.
Could very well be just winning for white. He has his protected passed pawn, which won't queen anytime soon, but it gives white a lot of mobility. He will just put his bishop on e3, his rook somewhere active, a6 or a8, bring his king, and then start provoking his second weakness on the king side. Yeah, I think he's supposed to win this, actually.
I think so, too.
Because you never want to exchange rooks. If you take the rooks over,
No.
all of a sudden it's a dead draw, but no one can force you to. Yeah, I would expect Jobava to grind this out.
I agree. I think he's in a great spot. And yeah, tell us, what's going on in the Twitter sphere?
Maybe not much, and that's what I'm checking. Pat Porter is saying, perhaps after today, Grove's attack, 1g4, should be renamed Grover's attack. In honor of my t-shirt. Yeah, I dressed up today. Because I think we both agreed that for the Olympiad, where we'll be doing a lot of talking, we have to look kind of serious and wear jackets and shirts.
We do. Yeah.
I even have a tie. Maybe I'll put on a tie.
Yeah, we can do a tie.
But I'll use every day before that dress how I dress
Normally.
normally. No, I don't. But
When you go
gotta
out
have
on
Super
dates.
Grover. Right, and then I bring out my best Super Grovers or Transformers or Stormtroopers.
To a nice dinner
t-shirts.
diet.
Yeah, you want to make a good first impression, right? Normal guy.
Yep.
No, who doesn't love Super Grover?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
It's from Sesame Street. You know Grover?
Yeah, but I
This
don't
is
know who
like-
Super Grover is.
You know Peter Parker?
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. And wow.
Osai Saka is trying to help us out on our Motilyov pronunciation skills. He says it's easier to say Alexander or Alex.
Yeah, that's also true. Or Sasha.
Or Sasha, yeah. Russian Alexanders are called Sasha, right?
That's right. And Alexandras,
Alexandros?
like the female Alexanders.
Ah, they're also called
They're
Sasha.
called Sasha.
Right.
Which can lead to some problems if you're not careful.
Confusing.
You could have two Sashas in your phone book, try and call one over for dinner, and the next thing you know, you've got the doorman from the local club coming over, and
Some of this sounds like a story that might have happened to
Yes.
you.
it kind of has. I like the
And
name
you learned how
Sasha.
to organize your phone book from Leon from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
What was that episode?
Look it up.
I'll look it up. I'll have to take hints.
Mm-hmm.
What else is going on? Well, amazingly, in the Nepomniachtchi game, I say amazingly, it probably doesn't change the outcome that much, but after king d5, he didn't go rook b6, which looks... He went rook c4, really going for it.
Strange. Pushing his luck a little bit. King c6.
Now his idea, I assume, is b4.
Maybe he wants to win. He wants to go b5, king b5, c6, queen the pawn.
And after rook h3 check, king d2,
This has happened?
this has happened.
Interesting. Is b5 a threat?
No, you can just
No.
go rook g3.
Yeah. That's cute if you went for a move like h5 just to show the line.
Yeah,
b5, king b5, c6, king c4, c7.
still a draw.
Probably still a draw, but nothing black wants. I'm not sure it's a draw. Nothing black wants.
What
Rook
is-
d3 check, king e2. And
Rook d5?
No matter what you try,
Oh, rook d6? Just...
I don't think it's
No,
Dutch draw.
this isn't...
No, it's not a fortress.
It's not a fortress, right? Really? It's not a fortress here?
No, it's not.
I can't get my pawn on f5 and rook on e4 quickly, right? Maybe it's winning. No, it's probably a draw. He's got 3 pawns and a rook. It must be a draw. Somehow. I don't know how. Maybe it's not. I would lose, but that's another story.
No, I think it's winning,
Maybe it is, but it's interesting. Well, he's not going to go h5, is he?
obviously. No, he's going to play rook b3 or rook g3. Any move that...
But rook b3 allows king c2.
Right. You can still go rook g3 or rook a3.
Doesn't really matter.
Any open file stops the threat of b5, because then at the end of that line we just saw, you can always go rook g8 back. King takes c4, for example, c7, rook g8,
Yeah.
with pretty good chances.
Pretty good.
We're obsessed with Curb Your
We are.
Enthusiasm on this show. Actually, I don't think it's very widespread. I don't think a lot of people have seen it.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
So
by
I'm
that.
not sure how much we can refer to it. But everybody out there should definitely see it.
Well, 100%. It's a great show. In the Gary Moitilov,
I think you're getting worse. every time.
I'm trying really hard to...
Motilyov.
Motilyov, that sounds right. Motilyov game. We've had we had g4 and g5, and that's fixed the pawns, but that just means that the king enters to
Just
free roll.
Game over.
It's a free roll to f5 city. Take me down to Paradise City. It's a great song.
Guns N' Roses?
Guns N' Roses song, yeah.
You probably
Yes.
covered it, right? Nothing's ever new in this will.
But let's have a look. King e7, sorry, bishop e6, king e4, king e7, and then if king f5, king d6, is the idea that you can just retreat? the bishop to f3, and you can't move the knight because of rook c6 checky. So you can't do that. And if you go here and you go bishop, well, you can't defend. No, that's it. That's
It's game over. It's totally losing. I think Mochilyov is just coming to terms with things have gone wrong, and he will resign shortly, but there's really nothing to hope for. RW, who of course has watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, he's an educated guy, RW. He's pointing out we're thinking of Denise Handicapped, one of the finer Curb episodes.
That is a brilliant episode.
It is funny.
That is a brilliant episode, yes. Thank
Well,
you very
Pablo
much.
Byrne is maybe tongue-in-cheek. Anish is in serious danger of winning a game today. Clearly not feeling himself. He did win a game
He
yesterday.
won yesterday. The guy's 27.50. He's won a few games, Pablo. Give him some credit.
1 or 2. And with all this smack we're talking, make no mistake, Anish Giri
Well,
is probably the only friend of this show. Do we have any other friends? No, we like Anish. That's why we make fun of him.
No, he's a world-class player, is Anish. World-class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. Jobava is turning the screw. We're not going to look at that game, I think, so much, because it's more a case of let's see what he does and then look at it.
Yeah, we can check back in 100 moves, and then he'll probably have won, but
Yeah.
it's no
There's no rush. is there?
play-by-play.
There's no rush for
Commentary needed.
Bador. Yeah, there's no rush at all. He's just
will take his time. I think I'm also mispronouncing that, right?
Badur.
Badur?
No, Bador. Badur, yeah.
That's 2 A's. How can it not
Badur.
be Badur?
Because you're putting the
Badur.
emphasis on the U.
Yeah, fair enough. It's 2 A's, so you should put the emphasis on one of those at least. Yeah?
That would be strange if you put no emphasis on them. Let's switch back to Ho versus... Now, you've got to be a bit careful here, because I'm a bit worried about black playing A5.
Right. And it could be, I like this idea, Rook A8. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
That black actually manages to create some chances. Let's try the most natural move, which is king to E4, A5. And all of a sudden that rook could cause a little trouble, right?
Could cause a lot of trouble.
A takes B, rook A4. Dangerous.
Maybe you can take and go knight C4, just holding everything together.
But Arya wants to have to go king D3. Well, black can't go king D5 because of knight B6, which would be very unpleasant. Maybe it is still holding, but it feels like white is already fighting for survival, right? It's not like this dynamic equality.
No.
So, as usual, I might have been a little early in calling this a dead draw. And maybe it does make sense to prevent A5 and play knight C4 here, which has the added benefit that you have ideas of knight A5, knight D6, king D5, king D3. So I
That
could
looks-
try rook F8, but then you got knight E3, king E6, knight F5, I'm guessing. So that might be the safer option.
I
to
think
just-
that's the way. I think she's going to find that as well. That's not too difficult to see.
Right.
I think you have to stop A5. That it can only get things can only get better. No, they can't. They can only get worse if you allow A5.
Yeah, it's also a good multi-purpose move, knight C4. Some active options, knight D6 and knight A5, and
Just
stopping
king
the
E4.
main enemy idea. Yeah, she will play that move.
She will play that move. We have faith. And Ishi's moving his rook around a lot. Rook C2, just trying to poke around. Motilov's going to play bishop B6, and then he's going to go king E4, and we're going to get pretty much the same position. He's finally going to work out that king F5 is winning when you can drop the bishop back.
This is totally game over. I refuse to even speak about it anymore.
Yeah.
It's resigns.
Yep. It's
Oh, there's new tweets. Finally,
Wow.
someone is tweeting us using our hashtag C24Live, following the example of Gary Kasparov, who tweeted into the show.
even Gary
on the first day.
Kasparov tweeted, ladies and gentlemen. That's unbelievable.
Philip says, oh, compliments, we like those. Love your commentary. It is really entertaining, and he's looking forward to the Chess Olympiad. So are
Me
we.
too, yeah. Can't wait.
Because not only will it be our pretty faces, but it will be live video of the playing hall. It will be lots of guests.
It's gonna be-
Who is who. and Hui fans of the chess world will be joining the show, hopefully. So we're really looking forward to it.
It's going to be very high tech as well, Jan, with the camera crews that we've got there and everything else like that. It's going to be really a top-notch production. I love having the cameras on the players and seeing them suffer. And
we're sitting there talking crap, like having a coffee. It's beautiful.
No, it's really great. You see them there and they make a huge boob, and it's just it's drama. It's what sport is. It's what chess is. And there is no greater mental anguish in any sport. I don't think it compares to when you make a horrific blunder in chess. Because most sports...
Well, people are different. Some guys, they realize it and they get up from the board, but sometimes you also see the reaction.
Oh, that's right. Last year at the World Cup, the game Shimonov-Kamsky.
Right, that was a blunderfest.
That was just one of the craziest games. And I remember Shimonov telling me that he made this huge blunder allowing queen takes h2. I don't know if you remember that game. Just mate in 3 or something. Had to get up from the board because his poker face was sort of... And you get up from the board confidently. That's a bluff, isn't it? That's an out-and-out bluff.
You gotta do that, especially if you have a bad poker face. You better get away from the board because you can't keep it up sitting there and shaking your hand.
What's your pose? Jan, here we go.
I like to sit like this.
You're one of those guys?
One of those.
You're the Hannibal Lecter pose? That's pretty special. I'm always this.
That's much better. Hide your eyes so you can't see the board at all.
No, I can. I'm shielding. It's like having a cap, and I'm like this. And then occasionally I'll lift my fingers up just to see my opponent's face. No, to see my opponent's face.
I can always see.
You do that? Are you serious?
I'm not sure. It's not conscious. Well, I think I do this a little.
No,
Suits me, right?
It does. Why don't you just get a mask made in that shape, and then you never have to do it?
Yeah. Where to put my hands then?
Over the mask.
Over the mask. It's interesting.
So, but when you had ever moved your hands, it still looks like... And you could have the mask in your fingers, in the shape of your fingers, your hands. So you could just have that as a mask, and then when you take your hands away, it's still there.
Right, I should get this for a commentary too. I think it improves the show if I just had a mask like this.
You'd also be eligible to fight in any kind of WWE wrestling championships with such a mask.
You don't need a mask to fight in those.
No, but you would look good with a mask.
Yeah, it could be the German Maskenkind.
What's Maskenkind?
Mask kit to make those.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, I like your thought process on that one.
Would you be good at wrestling?
I don't think so. First of all...
You haven't really got the body shape for it.
Yeah, that's one thing. I'm terribly weak and out of shape. The other problem is I'm bad at talking. Because to do this wrestling...
You're a commentator for chess. What do you mean you're bad at talking?
That's kind of the joke.
All right.
You also got to be good with the microphone and do the trash talking, right? Like The Rock, he was never a great wrestler, but when he took the mic, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, the crowd was listening.
Absolutely.
No, but I'd prefer to be a manager in wrestling. Behind the scenes, these small evil guys that tell them, crush him, and then they come and approach from it with a chair from behind. I think that'd be my more natural character.
That would be beautiful.
Anyway, wrestling is not real, kids. It's all fake and pre-arranged.
What?
I just felt I had to ruin it for the kids watching. This also goes out to you, Peter Lako. Wrestling is not real, no matter what they told you.
Very quickly, Jobava, has he made any progress? Well, he's put his bishop on e3, put his rook round the back.
Provoked h5, which is not a big achievement, but maybe a small one. I think he'll get there. Maybe one day he will embark on a heroic king's journey to b6, for example. It's very strong passed pawn. It can never really be undermined, this construction with the bishop on e3. I don't really see Jobava not winning this, but it will take a while.
We have had a draw in Sutovsky versus Nepomniachtchi. We have a very famous rook and pawn ending where you can never win this with black because white checks from behind all the time, essentially. Well, you can use it.
You don't really know anything about this.
I do know. Actually, I think, careful, because I think let's just put a few board. This is how you can lose this ending. I'm trying to think of a way to... So if you come here, if you go rook d7 check now,
That's like the worst possible move.
that's the worst move. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to think of ways to lose the ending. King e3, and now this might just be losing, in
Yeah,
fact.
you might be losing here already, but of course you have the famous Philidor position, the third rank defense,
Yep.
rook b3, and you just keep your rook on the third. No, keep it on the third.
Yeah, okay. Right, yeah.
Until black moves his e-pawn, then you go
Then you
rook
come around the
h8, and it's a dead draw because you just check the king away whenever he gets too close, and now he doesn't have a place
So-
to hide on e3.
Yeah.
So this is one of the two rook endings you really want to know, the
You have to
Philidor
know,
and
yeah.
the Lucena position.
Correct.
But guys on this level, they're quite familiar with it, so they agreed to draw immediately. No surprises there. What potential surprises do we have? Vocaturo
Wow, he
against
played
Brunello,
bishop
still
e4.
biding his time. I think,
Well, bishop takes h3 is the first move, isn't it, that comes to mind?
yeah, can't hurt to take the
Bishop
pawn with check.
g2.
No, keep the bishop, go
Bishop
somewhere.
g4.
Bishop g4, let's say. It's gonna win this. Bishop f3, I even like the idea of going rook h1. Oh no, sorry.
Excuse me?
No, don't go rook h1 because that loses a rook. What I was gonna say is that you should keep the bishops on the board. Probably not by going rook h1, but going somewhere. Bishop c8, bishop d7. And I think you're winning here with black.
Yeah, it's very close, isn't it? So we'll see if we see good technique from Mr. Vocaturo. And Anishgiri has won.
Of course.
Motilov has decided he's had enough. I mean, imagine trying to suffer. I mean, it's
No,
just
it's
never-
just
it's
resigns.
hopeless,
Like I
yeah.
said, there's absolutely nothing black could hope for here.
Yeah.
So, second win in a row for
Yeah,
Anish Giri. Lost
huge.
his first two, won his next two, back on 50%. Anything could happen. He can still very much even contend for tournament victory. I think no one has more than +1. He's half a point behind the leaders.
Pablo Byrne, interesting tweet here. Badr is a derivative from the Arabic pronounced Badr, meaning full moon.
Interesting.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Does that mean he's a werewolf? It means
He's
full moon?
he's kind of hairy enough to be, isn't he?
He's a hairy guy.
I love Badr. He's a very good
Well,
friend of mine.
well.
I speak to Badr a lot, and he's a genius. That doesn't...
He's also one of the guys who's keeping the good old spirit when chess used to be fun. Like, he's outgoing, he doesn't
Right.
mind having a drink, having a little partying. Then he, well, not saying he's overdoing it, but he's not one of the guys who hide in his hotel room, right? He comes out and talks to people, loving life and doing very well at the chessboard.
In fact...
Probably is a werewolf. No?
He is well. When I commentated in Vachier-lagrave this year, Badr was doing very well for a lot of that tournament.
There's some
Unfortunately,
rumors that he went to Amsterdam till 5 a.m. one of these nights.
yeah, I don't know who would have talked him into that idea.
I have an idea.
Some idiot.
You're a horrible person.
Actually, do you know what? It was actually him who proposed that. He was a bit bored, if I'm honest, in Vijk. It's a small place, and when it's
I've
cold.
been there.
So he said, let's go to Amsterdam. We had a fantastic night in Amsterdam.
No details.
No
Please
details.
spare us the details.
No, it was actually all innocent. We just went, had a dance, and the next day he crushed. Was it Yu Yang Yi? I think he beat him with some B3 line in Vijk the next day. So I'm taking full responsibility for that.
Right. You're a great mentor, second advisor.
Social second. He had a really great time. I think he will be playing for Georgia, of course, in the Olympiad. So he'll be doing that.
Do
And
you think Georgia is going to be on his mind?
that's very good. Unfortunately for you, I know the reference. Maybe because it's such a famous song.
That's probably why.
Is it really famous?
Of course it is.
It's really
It's
famous.
Ray.
It's Ray Charles, right? It's a great song. Georgia on my mind. We've got a tweet from somebody called Elisive Repen. Don't know who she is. Do you have any idea who she is?
No clue, but she did post a nice picture of us looking focused. We're always very focused.
Thanks, Elisive. We are. And Hou Yifan played knight c4. Decent. Decent. She's going to draw. Now that after king d5, king d3, if you activate the rook, knight e3 check, king has to go back, only one square, and now knight f5. And if you go here...
Well, even knight d6. Yeah, white is in no danger.
We can just get a repetition like this,
Once his knight starts jumping like that.
Yeah. Tend to agree.
Knight c4, she's a good player. She really is a very strong player.
She really is. And Jobava is still mincing around, trying to find the correct configuration. Vocaturo is winning, just trying to finish that one off. How about we go for a very quick breather, Jan, as
Let's breathe.
It's been about an hour into the broadcast. All games are, well, the Jobava game is going to go on for a while. Vocaturo needs to show some technique. Hou Yifan's going to draw, but we will...
No, I'm pretty sure she's going to draw.
Yeah.
But we'll stay with her.
We'll stay for a while, yeah. We'll stay to see that result. Remember, hashtag C24Live. We want to hear your tweets. Tweet us in the break. And if you don't want to tweet, for whatever reason, you can play in the play zone. Remember, there is the play now button this way. I'd never know.
Then you can tweet about it. You can tweet the game and we'll have a look at it.
Play a 1 minute game. Play a 3 minute game, whatever it is. We'll be back in a few minutes. Just click on play now, choose your time control, and you're off. Very simple. That's not...
Gonna make my move, gonna live my dream, gonna make my move, gonna live my dream. Every day, the future's getting closer. Every day, the future's looking bright. Every day is another beginning. Gonna make my move, gonna live my dream, gonna make my move, gonna live my dream, gonna make my move, gonna live my dream.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Chess 24 Live. This is coverage, we're providing coverage I should say, of the Biel Super Tournament and the ACP Golden Classic, which is taking place in Bergamo. I'm Lawrence Trent, he's Jan Gustafsson. Before the break we saw a few results. There was a draw in Bergamo between Sutovsky and Nepomniachtchi, and in the Biel tournament we saw a while ago that Wojciechowski. We also saw that Giri beat Motilov quite easily, and in the game between Ho Yifan and Harry Krishna, an interesting move around here. We saw knight c4, Jan, to stop a5, and now b5. Interesting idea.
Yeah, makes some sense. He wants to get rid of the weakness on b7. Return gets one on c6, but that's easily covered after something like knight e5, king d5. And a5 is back on the agenda. So
I'd be worried if I was a white here. Yeah, I really like this b5 move.
I'm not sure. I'm thinking about mating constructions, like something like, not on time, something like f4, f5. You got another mate?
Ah, sorry. You're right. You want to go f4 and f5 first, right?
Yeah, I'm not on time, unfortunately. If you went a6 first, f5, a5. Knight d7.
That's cute.
It is cute, but it's not quite going to happen.
No.
Still, this idea, let's say we go f4, a5. There still is knight d7.
Ah.
Sneakily planning knight b6 check. And if you, once again, carelessly went rook a6, then I have f5, and you're in some trouble.
But look at this. Can we just take anyway? This is unbelievable. Look at this here. Knight b6, king e6. If you take my rook, I'm going to take on a3.
Pawn is fast.
And the pawn queens. So
But does white have some tricks? d5 check here. What's going on?
Yep.
C takes d. f5 check. I have no idea what's happening. King e7. I can never take the rook, it seems like. I can probably go knight takes d5.
Yeah.
King d7,
And AB4.
AB, and why should I be in any trouble?
Yeah. Yeah, that looks like a good solution. But that's an amazing little line there.
Right.
Looked as though the play had left the building, but and she's played f4. So we're likely to see this, I would say.
Action.
You've got to be careful, because if you see a5 and you see that, and you, let's just say you play a move.
Yeah, I think he will play a5, because here you're going mated.
King d3 is...
I also have the idea of f5, knight g6, and either knight e7 or knight f4. Can't defend both.
Amazing, right? What a beautiful mating net. So he's going to go a5, knight d7. He has to then take on b4. Maybe he can go king e6.
Yeah, transposes. After knight b6, a b4.
Yeah, and then we get this crazy line. The point is, if you take...
Well, you can do that as well, in fairness.
And then rook, maybe chip, but probably down the back. And...
Well, I always have this cute idea of d5 check takes f5 check, because once again, king e5, which he would like to play, runs into the next cute mate.
That's
knight
beautiful.
d7.
So many checkmates.
He's
What
nice.
a beautiful
Or horses, as we call them on this show. They are very tricky pieces.
And something like this would be...
Well, probably black is still holding, but nothing to write home about.
Right. I mean, you can always defend the knight, can't you? And you can't really ever make progress here with black, can you?
Yeah, you can just go f6.
f6 is also good enough for...
Probably just for draw, but it looks like only white can win this.
Well,
Probably no one can win this.
something like this, amazingly. Yeah, so many drawing...
Such a sneaky piece that knight. Like any line, there is some tricks. Rook takes g4, c7, there's probably some trick. Maybe there's no trick for a trench. There's some drawing tricks, but no more than that.
just a draw. And, well...
Does look pretty drawish.
Rook and knight. Rook and king versus king and knight, you can play it on forever, but it's a draw, isn't it?
It's a dead draw. It's not that exciting. If your king is locked up on the back rank, there is a trick or two, but really, it's not that much to do. White just, well, the side with the knight just keeps knight and king close together, and you can't make any progress.
I think the way to do it, in fact, if we just illustrate it on the board, because it is, let's just, even if we're in the corner, something like this, I think this is the configuration, where you put the knight not on g1 but on f1.
Yeah, it's all a draw.
I think if the knight's on g1 and the rook's pinning, it starts to get a bit complicated. But
Well, it always depends on details where with the knight on f1.
I think
You're
the
still
knight's...
doing fine.
Yeah. Let's go back to Jobava Almashi, because here Almashi has committed with f5. It's quite an important strategic decision, because of course it gives up all the dark squares, allows an entry point for the king, but at the same time does put his pieces on light squares and might want to construct some sort of light squared fortress, but doesn't look like he is, right?
Horrible choices he's facing. He has to defend against White's idea of going g4 and f5, and he
Right.
can't really move his rook because rook d1 would run into f5 immediately,
Right.
for example.
Yeah.
So that's why he went there.
Yeah.
But I don't think it helps his chances.
So
just
king
the
g5,
will-
and if rook d3, just
might be some concrete ways already, but
g4. Looks very strong to me. And that's the end of the game, because this is a no-brainer. So that's winning. So king g5 looks like a winner, right?
I think the position is winning it.
And you have to go h4, because g4 is such a monster
So
threat.
h4, you just take your 2 pawns up and
Yeah.
you will regroup and win. Not much to say. He's going to win.
He is going to win with king g5.
For those of you, by the way, who are confused why we're covering Bergamo and not Dortmund today, it's due to the simple fact there's a rest day in Dortmund. Second rest day already, right? They're having a rest day
A lot of
heavy
rest days,
schedule.
yeah.
Guys like Kramnik, who has not been having a good tournament, get another rest day to regroup, lick their wounds a little bit. And tomorrow there will be more Dortmund action coming.
Right. Have we got any tweets yet?
Let's see, I don't think anybody's tweeting us. Please tweet us using our hashtag C24Live. Whatever questions you got. There's a guy called chess24.com. He's saying, I am David Martinez looks at a strategic gem or gem?
Gem.
Gem of a game by Fabiano Caruana. It's probably an article about yesterday's Dortmund round.
Yeah.
He did win an interesting game against
It was
Georg Mayer
interesting,
yesterday. Looked like he was worse, but then he rearranged his pieces. Very instructive game. Check it out. Now, stay with us. Check it out after the show is over.
Check it out after the
Read
show.
the news article.
We're not getting many moves yet, and I'm wondering if we've just had a slight...
Maybe
Pause.
they're thinking. F5 has been played by Almashi a minute ago.
was it a
Who
minute?
knows? And how you find they're going down that route?
Yeah. Knight d7 now on the board. Amazing little idea.
Yeah, one more move. F5 and it's game over. So black has to
A4.
act.
A4 wouldn't be
A4 would be a bad move
a terrible move.
for multiple
For
reasons.
F5 might be good enough, but knight
Yeah.
b6 is just game over. No, you have to take on b4. I wonder if Harry actually properly calculated this. I'm not
Well,
sure.
even if he didn't, A takes B, it's not that hard to calculate that he's not losing the rook and that this is the way to go to activate his rook and not get caught in one of these mating nets that are all over the place. The evaluation seems to stay the same, the position is still equal, but they're certainly providing some entertainment instead of just moving around and claiming a threefold repetition. Anish Giri won on 2 out of 4. Vachier-lagrave, the other tournament favorite, is on +1,
+1.
2.5. Solid draw today against Radoslav Wojtaszek, the former. I'm not sure if he's still with Anand. I think he's still in the team, the trainer of Vishy Anand.
Yeah, well, I saw Radoslav at the World Championships last year, which was the last big event I was at personally. And yeah, we had a nice chat. Who else was there working there? I think it was it Peter? No, it wasn't Peter Heiner. Where was it?
No, he
It was
wasn't.
Radoslav and
He brought in some new guys. He had Leko,
Peter.
he had
Yeah, I saw Peter Leko.
Sashi Kiran, and a
Sashi
strong
Kiran,
Indian
yeah.
player. I'm not sure. Ganguly? No,
I can't remember.
I think Ganguly wasn't on the team instead. I can't remember anything. But yeah, Anand shook up his team a little bit. Kazimchanov and Nielsen out of the team. Nielsen, as we know, moved on to the world #1. He's training Magnus Carlsen now. Set out that match because of the conflict of interest, having worked for Anand beforehand. It's going to be interesting if he'll be around for the next match. I guess he will be, probably, right?
Who knows?
He's a guy who worked for Anand for, I think, more than 10 years, so he probably knows
Really,
a
as
thing or
much
two.
as that?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Wow. Well, Yifan actually took back on b4 straight away. Same difference. And here, well, a few ways to play. You've got to be a bit careful with black, but I think
Yeah, any move activating the rook should do.
rook g3, something like this, and then if f5, king e7, d5 looks like the way forward, right?
Even here, rook g4.
Well, you've got to be
e5.
careful. No, you've got to be careful. Because now there are all kinds of ideas. If you take on d5,
C6
is...
might be a winner also.
and you can't take here because of knight d5 check, and if you come back,
This is
then
the famous umbrella. The black d-pawn provides cover for the white
Right.
king.
so you've got to be a bit careful here. I would, after d5, unbelievably, the best move might be king d8, but that's way out of the
Not
box.
the first move that comes to
No.
mind.
But maybe after here, king e5, you just have to come around the back
Yeah, this makes sense.
and
GC rook e1 check. It's still headed towards a draw here with the black rook active. Just check the king away.
check the king.
And then at the right moment you go king d8, stopping that pawn from queening. Probably
Oh,
this would
that-
be one check too many.
So king d8, knight d5.
I think it's still equal. Black can't really build a passed pawn. He has to be a bit careful about
Yeah.
the white army coordinating. But black should not lose. Whenever the white king approaches, you can check him. It's going to be a draw.
Can we double check that we haven't had a move in Brunello Vocatore? It's been.
We can triple check.
Let's triple check. Yep.
Checking
Checking. Mic check 1 2 1 2.
microphone check 1 2. What is this?
Yeah, he's taking his sweet time. Is Mr.
He is having a good
Couture.
old think. After f4, bishop e4. Not quite sure why. Bishop takes h3 is
Well,
quite a tempting move. if
He
you
knows. He knows that Bishop G2 is going to come, and maybe he's just working out after Bishop C8 knight E6 check. Maybe that's a
What's that
bit.
to work out? You just play it. You go king f6 and you
There you
take
go,
it from
King
here.
G4.
Maybe you go king g4 as well. Who knows? It doesn't look like a position where you have to think for 2 hours. Who knows what's going on there? Maybe they adjourned the game. Don't they have adjourned games?
They do have adjourned games, but I'm not sure when you're allowed to adjourn the game. Is it after move 40 or after 6 hours? Or They've been playing a hell of a long time,
works.
haven't
In the old days, I think, was after move 40, you can decide if you want to make a move on the board or if you want to adjourn the game. Maybe that is what happened. I'm not sure. Not that familiar with the rules, if I'm completely honest with you, but it sounds like a likely explanation.
Adjourned games. Funny to see those still around. Well, if in this tournament only.
I don't care much for them.
No.
In the old days, I think they made sense because computers weren't so strong and, well, you learned something about chess having to analyze your adjourned position. But now you just let your engine run and you play whatever it spits out the next day. So I don't see much point to it, but it's nice to have a blast from the past once in a while.
Yeah, it is.
Are you contemplating the past a lot? Because we know you're in a thoughtful mood. You're thinking a lot about death and what's the meaning of life, all these things. How can we cheer you up?
Well, a nice steak dinner would be the start.
Let's see. We haven't gotten any action yet. I'm not sure I'm in the mood to gamble away.
I don't think I'm in the mood for action.
No, there were some suggestions in the Twitter sphere.
Yeah?
Müller is saying, Lawrence, what odds would it take for Jan to offer you to take who to keep 50% through the tournament? Trying to decipher what that means. That's
Sorry, it was adjourned, was it?
Yeah, they'll finish on Saturday.
All right, great news. So that was an adjournment in that game. I thought he was thinking for too long over Bishop
yeah,
takes
it
H3.
make a lot of sense.
So they are going to finish that one off on Saturday, and that'll be interesting to see what the computers come up with. I think it's a good adjournment for Daniele Vocaturo because it's you're winning, and you can just
Yeah, you can just figure out all the details at home.
So
back to the action. Müller is saying,
yes.
What odds would it take for Jan to offer you to take who to keep 50% through the tournament? I think he means
what are you going to
if
offer
we
me?
expect who you found to finish on 50%.
50%.
Well, I do.
Oh, you do. So you give me even money?
No. Maybe I don't. Depends like which side I'm taking. No, I don't think we're getting any action. We've been both become a lot more conservative when it comes to gambling.
Yeah.
Some hard life lessons.
It's a hard life. When you're on the losing end of these dinners,
it's a lot less fun.
It's really a lot less
Can you imagine
fun.
how I felt?
My goodness. What about Daniel Beltran? What's he saying?
Oh, he's bringing up the big news from yesterday, which
Yeah.
of course have been prominent today as well. Which are the teams that could be excluded from the Olympiad, beside the Russian female team? It was a list of 10 teams total, none of them chess powerhouses, without trying to offend anybody. We could look it up, it has been tweeted today. I think our friend Tarjei Svensson, he tweeted a complete list.
It's in our news article.
Check it out over there on chess24.com.
We'll bring up the teams maybe for you lovely viewers if our producer can just whip those up. But I think it's...
I remember some of them. It was the Afghanistan women's team, and then it was...
They have a chess team. That's quite interesting already, isn't it? It's fantastic that they've got a chess team, in my opinion.
Which looks like they won't make it, though.
Looks like they won't make it, which is a real shame. What's a real shame is that all of these teams, a lot of them take this event very, very seriously. A lot of them train for months and months for this event and employ people to train them. And then suddenly to be told, oh, by the way, you can't go, it's just a huge shame. It
It's
really
the
is.
highlight of the chess calendar, the Chess Olympiad every 2 years. And yeah, it is always a pity if anybody is missing it.
Huge competition. There is no bigger competition. Am I right? Here we go. We've got the 10 teams involved, updated. So we have the men's Cambodian Central African Republic. What did that used to be called, the Central African Republic?
I'm honestly not sure.
It used to have a name. Zaire, is it?
Zaire?
Maybe Zaire. Central African Republic. Gabon, Cote d'Ivoire, Oman, Pakistan and Senegal. And the women's team, Afghanistan. So... And that is including the Russian women's team. I think that we should make that very clear.
That is, of course, the big news story. A lot of speculation. We have an article about it up as well, like what the implications were. Some people were referring to Katrina Lachno, who was changing federations from Russia to from Ukraine to Russia. We are not quite sure what is going on, and we will see how this plays out. The one thing which I feel bad for is the players missing the Olympiad. I used to be a player, and now I'm not that concerned about not playing there because I love talking about it. But as a player, if you've trained for the event, of course, no matter where you're from, it is a pity to miss that one.
Yeah, it's a huge pity, and without the reigning champions, the Russian women's team, well, who knows what will happen. It's obviously a huge talking point. We will keep you updated on Chess24 with all the latest developments, thanks to our brilliant news team. We should make a shout out to Macaulay Peterson, our producer. We should make a shout out to Colin McGaunty, who I always say that. Why do I
pronounce his name?
I can't do it.
McGorty. How hard can it be?
Why do I say McGaunty?
Colin, how you doing?
You're McGaunty for me, Colin. Colin McGaunty, the rest of the team who's doing
German guys,
the
Georgios
Solaidis,
Jose Cuenca, David Martinez,
all of the guys
doing great stuff.
Yeah, and doing an amazing. Why do I say McGaunty? I've got a problem. It's a tick. I have the same thing. I can't say a word in English. I'm trying to remember what it is. Yeah, a perfect example. I had to train so hard to say Agderstein. It doesn't come naturally. Sorry, Colin. I love you.
He's talking a lot of trash about you, Colin.
F5 check. What odds would you give me for King
She's
E5?
still hoping to checkmate in one move. Not going to happen, but it is the best move too. Since King E5 is not possible,
He's going to go back to...
he has to go back to F7 or E7.
He'll go to E7. She's going to take the pawn check. He'll go to D7. And then the question is if she wants to already end the game with F6 and kind of bail out, because, yeah, this is really...
I don't think White can play for more. The black rook is too active.
It's
once
very
it gets
active,
to
yeah.
B1 or G1.
Yeah.
I think this is a sensible way to play now, knight G8. We've looked at something like rook B1 here, knight H6, rook B4, and move like C6 or knight F5, and it's going to end peacefully.
Yeah,
There's still some play he left here actually, C6, rook C4, knight F5. You can't take on C6, but you can probably take on G4 if you want to. Yeah. And yeah, knight D4 for example.
But, you know, Harry might play on for a while here.
Not much to play for here. Honestly, I don't even think he would try. Rook against knight is pretty bad.
No, at the top level you see this quite a lot actually. And I think Harry's one of these guys who does do this. Can we get him to check on the Jobava game as well, please, producer? Because I think that must have been adjourned because King G5 is just so clearly winning that he's taken at least half an hour over this move, so I don't understand what's going on.
No, this is a pleasant spot. You feel you're winning, where you can work out the details at home. Like
whack it on the computer. Hey, imagine that. Put it on the computer. Bob's your uncle. Hey,
I love
what
to
a
play
line.
tournaments where you draw the game after move 1.
Yeah.
Move 1 is too early. Let's say move 10.
Nah.
Then again after move 20.
It's been adjourned as well. Makes sense. So they will finish again on Saturday. Good adjournment for Badur because he's just going to win. In fact, it isn't unusual for players to just resign before they resume. That was the old way of doing it.
That's in the old days. They analyze the position, and if it's hopeless, you send your opponent a card or you send your coach.
Maybe they could tweet it now with the new age adjournment the resigns before it. Hey at Badur Jobava.
That's Almashi. Check the drawn positions. King G5 is winning.
Yeah.
You really want to continue?
Let me have a lie-in on Saturday. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, all the games from Bergamo are over for today. We're still waiting on one game from Biel. We've got this exact position on the board. Now, the move F6 looks sensible. It's not the only move, of course, but kind of looks like the best move. Maybe knight F4 is also interesting, because if you go rook B1, you can go knight D3, and you've got a kind of fortress there, because after rook G1, you just go knight E5, and if you go king C6, instead you've just got king E4, and rook G1, knight E5 again. That's actually maybe an even easier draw, there's no way black can ever make progress here, right?
Yeah.
Hold on, we're not
Now
going
black
to...
has to be a little careful as well about something like king d5, king e6, king f7. So there is still some play left.
Yeah.
Here, rook b1, probably black is fine, but
I quite like this knight f4, knight d3 idea.
okay,
You happy with it?
I'm quite happy with it.
Would you give me a draw if I found that?
I give you a draw
Anyway.
anyway.
Would you say that most of your position games are drawn nowadays, or would you have a high draw percentage in your games
Compared to what?
compared to 10 years ago?
No, I draw a lot less these days. But
Really?
it's not because I improved or became a bigger fighter, but because I mainly play weaker opposition, because I'm playing opens, and in the German league I play on a low board, so I'm supposed to win a lot more games. I mean, I play guys like you now.
It's true, he's not lying. In fact, you know the great thing, Jan?
What's the
We
great
are going to
thing?
face off in February. I think we're on the same board next year.
Oh, that's gonna be
Kattenberg,
exciting.
Baden-Baden.
Oh my god.
Give me the white pieces, please, the Lord. The Lords.
Yeah, and you really need white so you can bang out one b3
Yeah.
and one g3.
That'll be one for the... Maybe we'll get that on Chess 24, Macaulay, if I play Jan in the Bundesliga. We would get that one on Chess 24. And Jan is big favourite, but I will make it
Gotta
a...
go preparing right
Oh,
now. 'cause
okay.
just imagine the
It's going to be
atmosphere on the
chaos.
broadcast.
I might lose in 20 moves, but as long as there's chaos and no exchange slows, I'm happy. Maybe I'll surprise him with this. Maybe I'll
I think
surprise
you're
you.
setting me up to play the exchange slot.
right. Can you imagine?
So Bergamo, all games adjourned. Dortmund, rest day, very rest day heavy schedule.
Come on, what's all this rest days?
Well, the first one I understood because it was the day after Germany won the
Right.
Football World Cup, right? So guys had time to watch the match in peace, the German players, even to celebrate, even though they probably didn't know that planning the schedule. But yeah, now it's 4 rounds played, they have a second rest day. I enjoy them as a player, but of course, for us spectators, we demand a faster pace. Do we?
We do. Yes, we do.
But we have other stuff going on. There's no lack of chess action. Biel saw some exciting games today. Anish Giri won. That was the only exciting game today,
Yeah,
really, so far.
That was. And
Volta, Sheikh Vachier.
should we quickly have a look at those games for all the people who've just come? We'll just go over the highlights. The highlight reel. I think the first highlight reel, Jan, was around this incredible move, Rook C2.
No, I think it started quite early if we have a little time. Let's go to the position after 15 King H1 C5.
Okay.
I think Anish got a nice position out of the opening, got the 2 bishops, and black is to get an isolated pawn. But here he played a bit strangely, if you ask me, and the computer, which recommends the move knight c3 here, which looks
Really
enough.
obvious, right?
Attacking b5 and d5, and after cd4, ed4, I think white is in pretty good shape.
Queen D4.
Rook d1, let's say.
Yeah. And the queen's
That's
a bit...
pretty nice for white.
Yeah.
So Anish instead he retreated with queen d1, which looks a little passive. Now, a couple moves later, rook e8.
Okay.
g5, standard move in these structures, stopping white from playing g5. Also not sure about a4, b4, a5. Looked like black wants quite some space and time. And yeah, I think black was fine here. This is the position you were mentioning,
Yeah.
where Giri gave up a pawn. Rook c2. Might have been out of necessity, because if he loses his grip on that d4 square, which was being undermined, he could end up being in trouble.
But what's wrong with knight f5? If you go g6, maybe I can check. But this is really...
Well, this is a little easier with the computer running than
Yeah,
with the board.
but
so it's-
even still, I think... It's not...
even this might be bad, who knows, but you can understand you don't want to go here.
Yeah, so you
Also,
play...
g6, of course, is by no means forced to move like knight e7, and you're still stuck with similar problems. You can probably go back to d4.
Yeah.
His position isn't that tempting here anymore,
No.
that's what I'm saying. So he decided to give up a pawn, and after knight takes a5, queen b1, bishop b6. Looked like black was better around here. But then he made a nice comeback later in the time trial, managed to complicate.
E4, that's a good move, I
e4,
think, yeah.
mixing it up, d takes e. Even if that's no good objectively here, rook c3 is strongly being yelled.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Blocks a diagonal, doesn't it?
Of course it makes sense.
Makes a whole load of sense to me.
Yeah, so Mochilev had a pretty good position
Yeah.
even around here. Then
And-
went slightly astray, I think, when he allowed that
It was
queen
here,
e2
wasn't it?
pin.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of 34 rook d3, one move earlier. Should have gone for a move like queen d3, maybe looks a bit more active. Not allowing this queen e2, stabilizing. It's probably still alright, even though it's a lot less clear cut.
Yeah, and then rook d3, queen e2, this pin was devastating.
It's annoying, yeah.
And knight h7 actually lost an exchange after knight d4, and there's no way of maintaining control. It's just terrible. So he gave up the exchange, and then another really nice move was here, knight c6,
Right.
uncovering an attack on the queen and threatening the knight and forcing mass liquidation. And the ending is basically winning, and he won it really easily. So
Yeah, this is game over.
good result for Mr. Giri. It's always good winning in chess. The other game we haven't really touched upon. Let's quickly go over it while...
Yeah, you can click through it. Nothing too exciting happened, if you ask me. So I'll lean back and drink my coffee.
So we have a symmetrical Slav. Grunfeld. Knight e5, knight e5. Unbelievable.
It's the best move. This is all theory.
Yeah.
For those interested, of course, as usual, we can recommend the excellent Peter Svidler Grunfeld series, which covers this very line on chess24.com.
Castles, castles, and look at this. Wow.
Just the most exciting.
Dull as, look at this. Dull as dishwater, this game. Horrible game.
It heats up a
C4.
little
It
bit,
gets
but not really. It's just a
just a mass liquidation,
mass
is it?
liquidation operation.
And look at this. We have same pawns, same minor pieces, more pieces come off.
Same rooks.
Same rooks. Yeah, win another pawn. That'll do. Win it all.
That's a touch of class, this move. Rook b8, instead of sitting around passively, gives up a pawn temporarily to activate both rooks
Yeah.
and just immediately
Yeah.
locking the game up.
And the point is, if you go a4, you go rook a2, a5.
Yeah, you win that
You win the pawn.
pawn
yeah.
back. Even if you didn't instantly with the rook so active, there's nothing that can ever happen to you.
Yeah. And yeah, you win the pawn back instantly. And
Played quite some moves in this
why are
position.
they playing so many?
No, just
I think they were just having fun, were they? I think this one is holdable.
yeah, they didn't have to adjourn that one. No adjournments in Biel, but even if there were, I think they would have found a way before. So the only game we're left with is Ho Yifan against Pantalia Harikrishna, which we also expect to end in a draw.
Yeah.
But it's going to be mildly interesting what Yifan decides to play here. Knight f4, followed by knight d3, your maneuver, or f6, just forcing some more pawns off the board. Both
I like
very
knight
possible.
f4, knight d3. I like knight f4, knight. I don't like...
I like f6.
Do you?
Yeah. I know what you're thinking.
What?
Should I offer a bet on this one?
Oh, we could. Do you think she'll go knight f4 or f6? Go on then. You think she's going to go f6 or knight f4?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
You want to give me action?
What do you want? You're offering knight f4 at even money? At even pasta?
I don't think I can take another loss. I think my...
I think it would crush you. Like, the downside here is just way bigger than the upside.
It's true.
That's
You're
the
going to take
problem,
me
right?
out anyway, right?
You
No,
promised.
I'm not going to pay, but I'll
You'll take
you
me out, right? Wow. Please don't play knight f4 now. I feel sick to my stomach.
I understand.
She's going to do it, isn't she?
F6 is a very logical move as well. This whole line takes knight g8, liquidate. I'm not sure, it could go either way. What do you guys think out there? I'm thinking she's going to go f6 actually.
Give me 2 to 1.
That's crazy talk.
Give me 2 to 1.
No, it won't.
You never do.
Why would I do that? Knight f4 isn't really just as likely as f6. It's a flip. Coin flip.
It's an over pair. Sorry, it's 2 overs versus an under pair, right?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Hold'em flip.
I do have an idea what
Yeah.
you're talking about. Just
You wrote a... Damn it! She played knight f4. I knew it. Why didn't I go with my gut? It's the same thing that happens all the time.
gotta trust your gut.
You got to trust your gut. She played knight f4. Great move. Just looking to come back to d3. That's really upset me.
so
That's,
sorry.
that's really
It's
tilted
probably
me.
your last chance to win dinner today.
That's
as well,
really
right?
tilted. Yeah, today it is. Yeah, that's super tilted me.
You gotta go with your gut.
I know it's in all situations, right?
Yeah. Do you know there's more nerve endings in your gut than in your head?
No, I didn't know that.
It's also not true.
Is it?
No, it's not true.
How do you know? How do you know it's not true?
It was part of a Stephen Colbert's speech at the White House back when President Bush was in charge, and he said, like, Mr. President, you and me, we're not some brainy nerds, we go with our gut. Do you know that there's more nerve endings in the gut than in the brain? I know some of you will say it's not true, but that's because you looked it up in a book. You should have looked it up in your gut.
All right, knight f4. Well, I think this is now clear, quite easily drawn because there's not actually much play now. You put the knight on d3, which is the idea. So rook
I've been
b1,
saying for hours this is going
knight
to end in a
d3,
draw.
and there's just no way of making progress.
Well, you can try rook g1. But
Rook g1, king f, knight e5. Sorry, is the
you can also go king f2, hoping for rook takes g4.
yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, anything's a draw. It's not even a threat taking this pawn.
No, it's just a balanced position. White can't get too active because the rook is too strong. Excuse me, there's some... and black can't really make any progress either.
Right. Do you want to analyse this anymore? Because it looks pretty clear-cut to me that this is going to be a draw.
I'm a bit upset I didn't win my dinner yet. I'd rather win it first and then go have it, instead of calling it a day already and having to pay for it
Well,
myself.
give me something. Come on, give me something.
I'll take a draw and I'll give you 3-1 on the other results. Pretty fair offer.
You always make it like it's a great offer, getting 3-1 on a totally drawn position.
Well, I think it's a good offer because I'm expecting it to be a draw. But
Would you have given me 1,000-1 on Germany beating Brazil 7-1 in the semi-finals?
probably would have. Yeah. I would have given you 1,000
Sick.
dinners to one.
Please give me...
Could have eaten for free for 3 years every night. Imagine that. Do you hear of the guy who bet on Suarez biting a dude?
Yeah.
He made a fortune. So
No, he
Norwegian
didn't.
guy.
He didn't make a fortune. He made it in
It's a better
krona.
story.
He made about
I was
1,000.
in krona. I just
Yeah, he
bet
made
on
it in krona.
Okay, he didn't make all that much.
No, he made
Still
1,000. 1,000's still 1,000. Can't complain. You cannot complain about that.
I do agree.
Why don't we have an Olympiad bet? Who's going to bite who at the Olympiad?
I haven't seen a lot of chess biting going on recently.
Has there ever been chess biting?
I don't know. I can't recall a case.
Somebody leapt over the board and bit their opponent?
I honestly can't
I've got
recall a
one.
case.
Have they got the zero tolerance rule producer in place this year? So
Normally
did
do
have-
at Olympiads. I'm not a big fan at these mass events because
Yeah.
guys are always waiting at the entrance or they have a hotel long time away and you're depending on so many external factors. I do like it for super tournaments where like the photographers can take the pictures and you want guys to be at the board. Not a big fan of the Olympiad, but they did have it at the last Olympiad,
Yeah.
so I'm assuming it's back in place. Anyway, what was your point or your bet?
Which team would be
Most
late?
likely.
Most
to be
likely.
late.
No, that's too difficult, isn't it?
It's a flip.
It's a flip. What about winners? Who are you going to go for? Who are your favourites? Who are your picks? We're going to do, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, an Olympiad preview show that's going to be uploaded.
Well,
Just a quick
okay.
2-minute clip or something before it all starts. But if you had to pick a winner just for the live audience now?
As usual, I'll have very exciting tips. In the men's section, I'd go with Russia.
Okay, I'll bet evens against.
Well,
So-
of course, you take the field against Russia. That's obvious. But you can take another team against Russia if you want.
No, I'll take the field against Russia.
No, you can't do that. I'll also take the field against Russia.
Oh.
But
All right.
if I have to go with a tip, I'll go with Russia. In the women's section, I think the remaining obvious tip is China, because it's unclear, as we've told you, if the Russian women's team will be in the tournament. And that would make China, I think, overwhelming favorites almost. Some other good teams, of course, like Georgia,
Of course.
Ukraine is always strong, but China would be the favorites.
I'm trying to get some action going, but
I understand.
I can't think.
You can have Armenia. They won the last couple Olympiads.
No, they're not. No. Maybe it's Russia's time. It's been a while since they won it, right?
They have a pretty decent team, but they always do.
They always do badly for some reason. Or
They don't always do badly. Last Olympiad they did pretty well, and they got very unlucky on tie breaks. They were tied with Armenia, really, I think it was second tiebreaker or something that decided it. They did play pretty well there, but yeah, they're due to win one. If you look at their team, Kayakin, Grishuk, Kramnik, Svidler, Yakovenko,
massive.
it's hard to come up with a better five-guy team, right? But Armenia has always been doing well. Ukraine won it a while back. Azerbaijan, of course, sadly weakened by the death of our friend Vulgar Gashimov, but still a good team. And
USA aren't bad.
US ain't bad, France ain't bad at all. A lot of strong teams out there.
Really tough to
There's
predict.
always, could be a surprise team like England doing really well.
Nah.
Wouldn't be a big surprise, but there's a lot of teams that, aren't top favorites.
What would
but
you
are
give
very
me
solid
for
strong
if
grandmasters?
Gabon do indeed get allowed to play? What would you give me for a Gabon victory?
I think that's highly unlikely. No offense to anybody
No,
in Gabon.
I'm just saying, what would you give me? If you give me 10,000 to 1, I might put a cent on it.
Okay.
All right, I'll
Might
do.
do that.
Okay, I don't think I've got a cent handy, but
You literally don't
I
have a
don't.
cent,
I
right?
literally don't know. All right, guys. Rookie 1, King F3 is on the board, and yeah, this is again heading towards a draw. Quite
So
in
this is heading towards the draw. Shall we head towards the door?
I think so. I think this is a good time for us to wrap up the show for today. It's been a slightly shorter one, but we've had some interesting games. Giri Motolov, Sutovsky, Napomniachtchi was even interesting, and then we had the 2 adjournments. I'm going to bet on Jobava and Vokaturo to win them both.
Yeah.
They're the safe bets. So I think that means, then, ladies and gentlemen, that's just about it for today. We're going to be back same time, same place tomorrow, 5:30 in the afternoon, where we'll have games from Dortmund as well. And remember to go and enjoy your lives. It's really important. Right?
Cheers to that.
Cheers.